So if you're getting here now, my name is Clay Souza. I'm a wedding and portrait photographer in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. And you are at Clay Souza Official Instagram or Facebook or YouTube. And we are here live at 8:08 p.m. Eastern Time every Monday and Wednesday to talk about photography. Mainly the three big pillars of photography, which are lighting, composition, and posing. Always reminding people that posing goes hand in hand with directing. If you can't direct, your poses are not going to be good. You're going to kick frustration in, and that's not good. So we teach you how to do all of that because you want to move your photography from good to amazing. Good nowadays is not good enough. Good enough is not good enough. We need to be amazing. There's way too many people photographing out there. Those cameras are getting better and better every single day, and the competition is steep. So we need to up our game. And tonight we're going to talk about IPS. For those of you who don't know what IPS means, it means in-person sales. Is when after you shoot, after you go and photograph, you bring your clients back to look at the pictures and order prints. It could be small prints, it could be big prints, it could be albums, whatever you're selling. That's what it is. And I know there's a lot of questions about it, and I know you have questions about it, because when I was starting, I had questions about it, and I still have. But to talk about IPS, we need to talk about a few things here before we jump right in. Okay, one of the main things that okay, let me backtrack a little bit. So what I want to do tonight is really to show you and talk to you about our process, how we do IPS, and how it looks like. I'm really what's happening tonight. Instagram still not solid, so it keeps pausing because of connection. So what happens? What changes you need to make to your business model to be able to do IPS? Okay, and you're going to talk about the myths. What are the myths that people talk about IPS, which is not true? Also going to talk about the excuses, which excuses we come up with not to do IPS session. You know, and hopefully you're going to type your excuses over there. If you're not doing IPS yet, you're going to type your excuses out there, and we're going to debunk them, because these are all excuses. We all do this. We all come up with excuses not to do something that we're not comfortable with. And I understand, and I'm with you, selling is not an easy thing, but it's not impossible. Once you get the hang of it, it becomes easier and easier every time. But you need to get started. You need to start somewhere. Everybody needs to start somewhere. How do you get started? And this is like your IPS 101. Okay? So first thing you're going to do, let's talk about, I took a lot of notes, and I made some big notes here, things that I cannot forget to talk about. Okay? So first thing that we need to talk about how you position yourself in the industry, how you position yourself in front of the client. Meaning, we position ourselves as a full service studio. So we are a full service studio. That's what I tell people. That's what I tell my clients. We are a full service studio. What does that mean? Means that we're going to go and photograph, create your portraits, create your art, and then you're going to come back. You're going to come back to our home studio, and you're going to look at your pictures, and then you're going to place your order. Okay, so this is what a full service studio is. It's from beginning to end. There's this whole shoot and burning idea out there. Shoot and burning means that you shoot, you edit, you send the online gallery, and you're done. Right? If you charge $299, $399, whatever it is for your portrait session, that's how much money you're going to make. And guess what? That is not a sustainable business. I mean, unless you have a volume, you have good volume, a lot of people coming through, it's not sustainable on that price point to have a running studio. Because as photographers, we all know, think about this. People who are not photographers, they don't know how much money goes behind the scenes, right? So we have computers, we have software to buy, we have subscriptions. We all have subscriptions to Adobe Lightroom and Photoshop, right? We have insurance. I mean, we have insurance. We can get sued, so we have to have insurance. We have all of those expenses that people don't think about it when they're talking about photography. So when you put your price point, people say, "Oh my God, this is a lot of money." But they don't understand how much money you spend in your business, right? So that's why if you're trying to run a business, a profitable and sustainable business, charging only for a session fee and giving all the files digital, you leaving money on the table, and it's not a sustainable business unless you are shooting volume. That's a whole different ball game. This is not what we're talking about here. We're talking about a boutique service, right? A boutique model here. So the first thing that needs to change is your mind. Which kind of business are you? Are you a full service business? Are you a full service studio? Are you a shoot and burn? Are you a gallery online and you're done, right? So no IPS at all. So when you move from not doing IPS to doing IPS, a mindset needs to change, needs to shift. And I know it is scary. Okay, it is scary in the beginning. It is because now you're going to open yourself for failure. Okay, it's normal. In the beginning, yes, it is scary. I know that because I went through the same process, right? We actually started already doing IPS from the very beginning. We never did shoot and burn. But the beginning was tough. We didn't sell in the beginning, and every time I would come back and look at what I had said, what I had talked about, and making those connections. Where did I go wrong? Where did I go wrong? Okay, so once you start looking at this, you need to go back and look at your business. What are you offering? Which types of things you are offering to your clients and your collections? Okay, because that's going to have a huge impact on IPS. All right. So, but before we get there, I want to talk a little bit about IPS myths. Which kind of myth that people things that we hear around photography communities, photography groups that are really not true. One of them that I hear the most, like nobody buys prints anymore. Everybody just wants digital. Nobody buys prints anymore. Have you guys heard this? If you have heard this sentence, this statement before, please hit the heart there. Let me see how many people have heard this before. Nobody buys prints anymore. So have you heard this? If you have, hit that heart button there on your Instagram, and let's create some interaction here. So Instagram likes interaction, and I will know if you guys are with me or not. So let me know. Hit that heart button if you have heard nobody buys prints anymore. This is something that I hear all the time. People talk to me all the time about this when I'm talking about IPS, and it's a myth. It's a myth because we keep selling. I mean, we sell prints, right? Apparently nobody heard this before because nobody hit the heart button. All right, so let's move to the second one. Another one is people will not pay high prices in my area. There's no such a thing. There's always people have money for what they want. If you think about your own life, you have money for what you really want. Right? If you really want it, you will find money. So if people are not buying because of money, it's because you're not creating enough desire for your photography. Okay, so and that could be like a lot of stuff. So I'm going to write down the questions that I see, and we're going to address them towards the end. All right, where is a good print? Where is a good print made? Where are good prints made? There are several labs out there that you work with. I work with like 3 or 4 different labs, depending on the product. Depending on the product, they will I'll order some products from one lab, another product from one lab. I will give you the labs towards the end, okay, that I work with. They're all great labs and create beautiful photography. So Gil is saying they don't pay move to a photographer. Yes, that, you know what that means? That means that these are not your clients. If that's the majority of what you're getting, you need to look at your marketing. You need to look at your pricing. You need to look where are you marketing, how you marketing, because you're attracting the wrong people to you, right? You need to attract people that want your picture, the people who want you for your work, not because of your price. Okay, and don't get me wrong, I get those too, I get those people too, right? But once you start separating yourself from everybody else, point is, guys, once you start separating yourself from everybody else, you stop having that problem. Okay, once you get into a price range that's a little bit above the market, you stop having that problem. But if you are competing in that pool where everybody is, yes, they'll move to somebody else because they want a cheaper price. And you know what? Those are not your clients. One thing that photographers need to learn is to say no. We need to learn to say no. And you also need to stop being emotional about this. When people go to another photographer, that is their right. They go over there and they get what they need to get, and that's good. That's fine. That's fine. You don't want somebody who's going to come to you, photograph with you, and then being bargaining with you, right? Will be asking for a discount or not buy anything. Those are not the type of clients that you want. So if they want to go somebody cheaper, it's fine. Let them go. Don't make a big deal of it. Move on. But look where you're marketing. Okay? Usually, when these things happen, if it is happening all the time, it means that the marketing is off target a little bit. Okay, another question: do you ship direct to the client or you deliver to the client? I hand deliver every product that I have. I do not trust the labs. I've been working with my labs for many years now, but I still don't trust them. I like looking at every single print. In fact, today we got like an album and a bunch of prints that one of my clients ordered. I could have shipped to her house, but no, I like looking at them, and it's all about being personal, right? It's all about packaging. It's all about all of that stuff. So for your brand, I like delivering by hand. Okay, so Jigood is saying, I agree, the hard problem is to find better clients. Finding better clients is not the problem. Finding better clients is the solution to the problem. Okay, so, and what do you mean by better, right? So it's guys, it's all about how you talk to people, how you selling yourself. It's all about sell yourself. Because if you think that you're selling photos, you're wrong. You're wrong. You're not going to sell photos. You are selling memories. You are selling the experience, and your experience starts when they contact you for the very first time before being your client, and your experience ends when you deliver the album, you deliver the prints, you deliver the wall art. That's from the beginning to end. Okay, this is what makes the difference, right? If you think that you're selling if you're selling photos, you're wrong. That's why things are going wrong. You're selling the experience, and this is what clients need to understand, right? So the next question is, how much do you mark up from your cost? That depends on your cost of goods. You have to know how much is your hour, how much your hours is worth, and how much what's the cost of doing cost of goods, cost of doing business. Then your markup happens over there. It's different from everybody. For instance, I don't have a studio. I do have a home studio, so my costs are lower because I pay my mortgage. I see people from in my house, so I don't have to pay rent. If I have to pay rent, my price has to be higher. It all depends. But you need to know very clear what your cost of doing business is before you can start thinking about pricing. And guys, at this point right now, let me know who is doing IPS right now. So if you're doing IPS, just type IPS on the comments. Just type IPS, so I know how many people are doing IPS sessions and how many people are just shoot and burning. So that way it's make it easy to guide the conversation a little bit more. So if you're doing IPS, just type IPS on the comments there. Okay. I'm going to write down here and see who is doing IPS. So far, nobody. Nobody. If you're not doing IPS and you're asking about price, that's the wrong question to ask. Okay? Because there's way more stuff that needs to happen before we can think about price. And that's a big mistake. That's a big mistake that a lot of people make. The first thing that people think about IPS is how much money I'm going to make. No, that's not how you should be thinking. All right? So, Brandon, I know Brandon does IPS. So far, just Brandon. So this is a really good session for you guys. Listen to what I'm going to tell you, because this is the beginning of the IPS. Before you can think about price, before you can think about anything. All right? So let's go back to the topic here. Let me see. I have a lot of notes here. So we have a myth that nobody buys prints anymore. That is not right. That's not correct. People buy prints because I sell prints all the time. Okay? People will not pay high price in my area. I'm probably one of the more expensive folks in my area here, and still selling prints. All right? And my clients will not come back for another meeting to do an IPS. That is not correct. That is another myth, because people come back as long as you know how to talk to them, as long as you prepare them for the process. Okay? So when you go to the doctor to have an operation, doesn't the doctor sit down with you and go, you're going to do this, you're going to do this, you're going to do this and that? Right? Then your recovery is going to be this, and that. Ideally, that's what a doctor should be doing. And that's what you should be doing with your clients. You can't expect that you're not going to tell them anything about sales and then you start to make sales. It's not going to happen. You have to prepare people for the sale. You need to be ready, and people need to be ready. Okay? So with that in mind, when you think about that, now let's talk a little about the excuses, because we all create excuses to not to get into a situation that's uncomfortable to us, and we all do this. We all do this in any situation, right? One of the excuses I hear a lot: I don't have a studio. How many people are not doing IPS here because they don't have a studio? Hit that heart button there. Let me see. If the only reason, if you go like, oh, if I had a studio, I would do IPS. If that's the way you're thinking, just hit that heart button there. Let me see how many people use that excuse not to sell, not to make money, not to provide your clients with a better service. Because guys, if you are delivering digital files, what's happening is that you're leaving the service incomplete. You're not completing the cycle. Okay? So apparently nobody here use that excuse because nobody hit the heart button. All right. Second excuse: I can't sell. I'm not a salesperson. You know what? I wasn't either. I wasn't a salesperson either. I just learned how to do this. I learned by myself, looking at videos, going to workshops, and trying and error. This is how I learned. And if I learned this, I can't guarantee you that you also can learn. Jeff saying, I'm going to do an IPS with this last wedding. You should do IPS with that last wedding, because it was a good wedding. Yeah. And if you excuse that you don't have a studio, guess what? I don't have a studio neither. And I'm going to tell you how I do it. I can't sell. So another excuse that people come up with: I don't know what to sell, and I'm going to help you with that. I'm going to tell you what you should be selling. All right? So other excuse: I don't have time. Well, if you don't have time, there's not much you can do about it, right? We find time for what we want. That's the truth. Okay? So if you don't have time, if you excuse I don't have time, just let me know how many hours you sit down and spend watching Netflix movies. That's your time right there. I mean, this needs to be an open, brutal, honest conversation. Otherwise, it will not work. And I'm not here to waste my time and your time neither. So it's going to be honest, it's going to be brutal. I'm going to touch on those uncomfortable topics, and we're going to go through this. And if you guys stick around, you're going to end up on the other end much better than we started today. Okay? So I don't have time. That's not an excuse. You come up with time, right? You need to come up with time. Okay, so these are the myths and these are the excuses. When you look at this, you need to say, I need to make this happen. So, but what does that mean? What does that mean? Make it happen, all right? First thing that you need to do, you need to hold on your digitals. If you are charging whatever you're charging and you're sending out the digitals, that you need to stop right there. Because if the client has a high resolution digital, why are they going to buy prints from you? Why? There's no incentive for them to buy. You need to give them incentive to buy. Okay? And this is not being sleazy, guys. This is being upfront. As long as you're upfront and honest and open, have open conversation with your clients, and you have a system, this is how it works, and you are, I wrote down here, where is it? I wrote down a bunch of stuff and I lost it. Oh, over here. Honesty and transparency. This is key. Honesty and transparency. You need to be honest. You need to be transparent with your clients. They need to know what they get themselves into. Okay, there's no surprise. It's not being sleazy. It is being a business person. You are a business person. You need to start looking at this as a business. Needs to be profitable. Otherwise, you have a damn expensive hobby. Okay, if you're not selling, if you're not making money with photography, you don't have a business. You have an expensive hobby. Unless you're loaded full of money, it's fine. It's okay. Here's the point. The point is, not everybody is in this for business. Not everybody is looking to make money with photography. It's totally fine. Totally fine. I totally, whatever rocks your boat, really. Okay? For me, it's about creating memories for people, create moments that they're not going to look at, they need, when they're going to remember when they look at the image that I create for them, and having a business. That's what it's all about for me. This is what makes things move for me. Okay, but not everybody's like me. I understand that, and that's a great thing. So if you find the way you're doing it, it's okay. It's okay. But if you're just sitting down complaining that you don't make sales and you don't change anything, that is, the life is there for you. That's why I'm going to hit you with those hard questions and those things to think about. When you finish the live, I want you to go back and think about these things that we talked about and say, oh, you know what? I need to get my butt off the couch and get going on this. So Jeff asks, do you put your logo on your client's prints? No, never. I don't. I know some people who do it. That's fine. I don't. I think that's not cool. Not cool. If I bought a print from me and came with a logo, I wouldn't be happy with that. So, and people have but so and so signed the painting. That's a whole different ball game. In my mind, that's a whole different ball game. I don't put my logo on my prints, not at all. All right. So, digitals. Let's go back to the point of digitals. You need to hold the digitals. Okay. So it doesn't mean that you don't give any digitals. No, you can give a number of digitals in your collection. Let's say, my portrait session is $299 and I give 5 digitals. Okay, cool. Just be upfront with this. Just be upfront. Just be transparent. Let your clients know beforehand. Okay. Otherwise, you're going to have issues. You don't want those type of issues. Write on your contract, write on your invoices, okay, what the deliverables are and how you're going to deliver them. On my contract, it has all the deliverables and it has how it's going to be delivered, right? Otherwise, everybody's going to be expecting a pen drive today. Older folks are still expecting a CD. I don't do that. I do online gallery. I deliver on an online gallery. That's what it is. I got tired of buying pen drives and people losing them. Okay, so, and CDs, new computers don't come with CD drives anymore. CD is a dead media, so forget about CDs. Okay, so I do online galleries, but it's all spelled out on my contract. Okay, they know how it's gonna be delivered. And on my invoice, everything's detailed on my invoice. So what's going to be delivered, how many files, which type of file, high resolution, low resolution, not watermarked, fully edited, all that type of stuff. So that's the first thing. Because if you're delivering, let's say if you went to do a portrait session and you come up with like 100 images at the end, fully edited, and you give all of them, why are they going to buy anything from you? You're giving them the whole farm. You better go back there and just cook for them per week, right? Yeah, there's going to be people going to say, well, but so and so charge me less and give me all the digital files. What you going to do? You're going to base your business on somebody else? Because that's not a sustainable business. They either have another income or they're going to go out of business at some point. Okay? So then that's when you need to say, well, unfortunately, that's not how it works. Right? I've had clients who challenge me on that, and I don't fight these things. I just say that's not how it works. I mean, if you think he's a better fit for you, I mean, there's no hard feelings. You can go and get. But I bring this to the table that I doubt he just bring. I bring this. Look, you here because you saw my portfolio, because you had a good experience at this point so far. You like my image, otherwise you wouldn't be here. Right? The point that the client is in your home, is in your studio, you have them on the phone, you already have a really, really hot lead right there. Don't let that go. Don't let that go. Keep pushing for the sale. Okay? So hold on your digital, right? Create your packages, create your collections based on prints. What you're going to print, what you're going to do, what you're going to give them, what you're going to give and what you're going to sell. All right? So that's the first thing, the first mindset that needs to change. Okay. Number 2, samples. You cannot sell what you don't show. I cannot say this enough times. I'm going to say it again. You don't sell what you don't show. Can you imagine you go buy a car and the guy goes like, you know, we have this car over there, but we don't have one here, but it's black and it has this really cool lights and it's really fast, it's really comfortable, it's spacey, it's a lot of space inside. Do you want to sign a contract? Want to buy it? You're not going to say, no, you're crazy. I need to see the car, right? It's the same thing with the clients. Get your samples. Every lab out there gives discount on samples. Some labs are up to 25, other labs give 50. The other day I received an email from a lab that was giving like 50% off on samples. So create your samples, find your best pictures, whatever you shoot. Let's say if you photograph families, find a photo shoot of a family, create a 10 by 10 album, have that sample with you. When people come, they know what they're getting. They know what you're talking about. You're not going to sell it if you just describe the album. When they come for the IPS, put the album in their hands, let them touch, let them smell, let them open the album, and shut up, don't talk, let them enjoy the experience. If they ask you a question and you answer, but stop interrupting your client when the client is creating the emotional connection. Okay, that's a big thing. One of the best things that I learned when doing IPS was not when to talk, was when to stop talking. I hurt myself for many years because I talked too much. I had to learn to stop talking. When I learn when to stop talking, then I start selling. Okay, so put the album in the client's hands and let them look at the album. If they have questions, they're going to ask you questions. Because when you talk too much, you end up put the food in your mouth and taking you away from the sale. So another thing that's very important here that we do here all the time is I don't talk about sales during the consultation. During the consultation, I talk about this photo shoot, the photo session they're going to do. If they start asking me about pricing, oh, but if I want an album, how much? I talk about. So this is pretty much how the conversation goes. Guys, thank you so much for coming, blah, 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 blah. So I ask a bunch of questions about, let's say if it's a family. I'm not even going to ads. Let's go simple. Let's go a family shooting, right? A family session. Oh yeah, the first question that I usually ask, did you guys look at my work? Did you guys go to my website? Did you look at my work? Do you like what you saw? Because we have a little bit of a different style. And most of the times they say, some people say, no, I don't. I haven't looked at your work yet. But most people say, yes, I do, and I love it. That's exactly what we're looking for. And then I give them the price, and I tell them, this is what you get with this price. This, and that. But as you can see, so at this point, they are here inside our home studio. As you can see, we have all of these products that also provide, make available for sale. But you know what? Let's talk about the session first. And this is a whole different step. Let's talk about the session first, okay? And there is a psychological reason why we're going to do that. Number one, we're going to focus on what they're there for. They're not there to buy yet. They're there to book you for the session. You haven't booked yet. Stop wanting to sell products before you book the session. Two separate things. Split this process right in the middle. Here's the reason. Let's say you charge $400 for a session. Okay, $400 for a session, and let's say you charge $700 for a 10 by 10 book. And if you try to do them at the same time, you're not $400 expensive anymore. You are $1,100 expensive now. Does that make sense? Right? So I walk in to talk to you for the first time, right? And now I know off the bat I'm going to spend $1,100. Right? That's expensive. $400 is much cheaper. All right? But you're not being sleazy about it. You're just laying down the process the way it is. Right? Do you guys agree that's much easier to sell something for $400 than something for $1,100? If you guys agree, hit that heart button there. Let me see if you guys agree with me or if I'm tripping. What's going on today? There's no heart going on today. You guys hitting the heart button, nothing's happening. I don't see anything going up here. You guys are pretty good. You're usually pretty good about this. So yeah. So split the consultation from the IPS. Two different processes, two different things. They need to know. They will come back. So this is what we explain. So once you talk about it, they say, okay, it sounds good. And then we in the process, I always say, so the way it works, we're going to go out. We're going to do beautiful portraits for you and your family, things that you guys are going to remember forever. And then we're going to bring you guys back here on another day after all the images have been added and selected and edited. And then we will show you the images. If you want to pick the number, the 5 that in your collection, you can pick the 5. But you also have some products here for you guys to look at. See, but you have don't worry, we have samples of everything. We will walk you through the whole process. Okay. This is awfully quiet here tonight. What's happening? I'm wondering if this live is still going on. Okay. So split the process. Then you go out and shoot. Right? You go and you photograph, you create beautiful images. You need to have the images there. Now, what you're going to need a slideshow. Okay? So, guys, I'm telling you the process that we do that works for us. We do a slideshow, right? We create this slideshow. We use this software called Animoto, AINIMOTO, right? It's online. So you pay a monthly subscription, you create a slideshow with the images, okay? That slideshow goes into a pen drive, which I plug in the back of my TV. When they come back, we sit down before anything happens. They come back to see the images. I'm not showing them the images yet. I'm creating those emotions. I usually have on the display on the TV an epic shot of the family that we shot, right? The most beautiful shot is right there. When they walk in, they look, oh my God, look at us on the TV. Oh my God, this is so awesome. This is so beautiful, blah, blah, blah. So you started getting there. So when they come in, there's some food on the table, there's some drinks on the table. You start talking about them. How did you feel about the session? So it was great. We had a great time. Blah, 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 blah. We have a 15-20 minute conversation to ease them in the process, and then we take them from our aisle on the kitchen to the couch. It is, guys, it is in our living room downstairs. I live in a townhome. It's in our living room downstairs. But when they walk in, we have easels with 24 by 36 metal samples right there for them to see. And these easels change according to which kind of session it is. If it is high school senior, all the images that are in there are high school seniors. If it's wedding, it's all wedding. If it's family, it's all family. Yeah, we have samples of everything. I have 3 or 4 metal prints, big 24 by 36. I don't show anything less than that, smaller than 24 by 36, because I want to sell wall art. I don't want to sell an 8 by 10, a 5 by 7. That's not worth it. I want to sell big prints. All right, so we're showing them, we're making them comfortable. So we're talking about it, you're talking about the quality, you're talking about all of this. So when they walk in, they see that, they say, oh my God, this is gorgeous, and they see the image on TV, they start making that relationship of, I see the image on TV, this image is going to look great on that metal print over there. Okay, this is the first impact. They sit down, we have a conversation, music, soft music is playing on the background. We're eating, we're drinking, we're talking, we have conversation, we're talking about the kids, we're talking about everything that we can, and then we move over to the couch where we turn all the lights off. All the lights are off at that point, all right? And we play the slideshow. When you play in the slideshow, do not talk. Let the emotion happen. Watch them, watch them, watch them, watch the body language, watch their reactions to the pictures. That way you know how much you have to push for the sale or not. If they're crying, if they are having good reactions to the prints, right, you don't have to push much. If they're not reacting to the prints, then they're not reacting to the slideshow, then you probably have an issue that you have to address when you're doing the sales. Okay, so slideshow plays, done. You come back, so I look at them and say, hey, what do you guys think? Oh, we love the pictures, so beautiful, oh my God, oh my little baby, my little kid. So we have this conversation. Then I always bring up the session again. Oh, it was a lot of fun. I mean, you guys did a great job. The kids did fantastic. What a beautiful kids you have. It's a beautiful family, and a lot of this is going to be beautiful on your wall, right? Imagine you decorate your house with your own wall art, right? Pictures of you guys that the kids are going to grow up looking at them and seeing the connection of the family. This is priceless, because guys, think about this. If you buy a car, a home, anything you buy, pair of clothes, it depreciates. A house, if you don't take care of it, it depreciates. Clothes depreciate. Car, the moment you buy a car, you put this on the other side of the street, it already depreciated. Prints, big wall art, they just increase in value. The longer they have the print, the longer time has passed from the shooting, the memory is going to start going away. They're going to have their print, the print is going to become more and more valuable. Okay, you need to think about this, and these are the type of things that you need to tell your client when you're trying to sell. All right, so before they come in, I create a slideshow. We create a slideshow. I also I pre-design a album for them. I use this software called Fundy, where I can go and create the album. I create the album. I create a 20-page 10 by 10 album. Okay, which once we talk a little bit about the slideshow is over, once you talk a little bit about the session, this is what I usually tell them, guys. What I did, I pre-designed an album for you, and there's no commitment, all right? I just want you guys to be able to see those images that you just saw here in an album, because we have all of these albums here. This is a 10 by 10, and I go and grab that album and put on their hands, right? So now, the album is Fundy, F as in Frank, U, N as in Nancy, D, Y, Fundy. So I put an album on their hands. Now I have the album on the TV, and they have an album on their hands. Usually it's a family album. If it's a wedding that I'm selling, I'm showing a wedding album. If it's a high school senior, I'm showing a high school senior album sample. All right, I'm putting that sample. As they open it, I'm quiet. I wait for them to go through the album, and then I go back and say, let me show you the highlights of this album. And I start highlighting the album. You see, it's a soft touch cover. It's padded and it's soft touch, and they touch it. Oh my God, yeah, I didn't notice that it's soft touch. Another thing also, I usually open right around the center where I know there is like a big, like full spread print that goes both spreads, because my albums don't have gap in between. This is a feature that I point out when I'm shooting. And I show them, see guys, this is the album here, the spine, there's no gap in between, so we can spread this image all across the spread, across 2 pages. It looks amazing, just like this one. So these ones that I have for you is going to look beautiful on this album. It's something like that, right? So we're showing we're highlighting the album for them. We're showing how good the albums are and everything. Okay, so then we go through that process, all right, and then we go to what's included in the collection. So guys, this is it. So the collection that you picked, all right, comes with X number of digitals. These are the digitals that I'm giving to you. Okay, so now we have a few choices for you to get more pictures, and then I go through all the lists. We have all the digitals, we have the albums, we have the big prints, and then I go through all the lists, and I'm going to showing them, and we putting every single sample we putting on their hands. Whatever they order at the night that they're here to do the IPS, they get a discount. Tomorrow there's no discount. The discount ends at midnight tonight. This puts some urgency on it. They don't have to pick the images. They just have to pick the product and pay for it. That's all, right? Then you have to have the system online to take online credit card and all that type of stuff, right? You have to have a system where you can create an invoice, right? Because it is all moment. You have to take, if they think, oh, no, I'm going to go home and come back tomorrow and think about it. Not going to happen. Forget about the sale. It's gone, right? Or sometimes the mom comes, but dad doesn't come. Oh, I need to talk to my husband. Hardly ever is going to happen, because husband wasn't here. He didn't make the emotional connection to the product. He doesn't know. He's going to know what the wife tells him, and he has no. And guys are doing math. I mean, guys are like, oh my God, this is going to be expensive, right? So no, they need to be here. Now, one thing that I forgot I need to go back to, a few days before, when you start talking about, when Dunn is the one who does all the communication. Okay, so when there's an email saying, guys, your pictures are ready, they look fantastic, I want to bring you guys in here for you to see your images. You guys are going to love them. When's a good time? When they agree on a day, let's say today is Monday, and they're going to come here to see the pictures on Friday. On Wednesday, about Wednesday or Thursday, Wednesday usually, Danny sends them a price list. That way when they come, they already know the pricing. There's no sticker shock. Okay, so they already come prepared. We call our review, our session, our IPS session, review and ordering session. You guys gonna come for your review. I don't say IPS. People don't know what IPS is, and you don't want that sale word in there. All right. So you guys, I want to schedule a day for you guys to come to your review and ordering session. See what we're doing there? We already put in their minds. There's some ordering, right? And we also say, please make sure that the decision maker is going to be able to be present to the session, because we want the person to make the decision over here. Now, I will tell you this. Does it work 100% of the times? No, it doesn't. Do I sell 100% of the time? No, I don't. But I'll tell you, I sell more than I don't, right? I think my range is about, today is about between 70 and 80% of people who come through, we sell. Okay, so hold on to the digitals. You need samples, you need the slideshow, and you need to have your setup. House needs to be clean. If you're gonna do this in your house needs to be clean, free of kids, free of dogs, free of cats, and free of anything. We went through a whole rebuilding of our kitchen downstairs just because of IPS. We redid the whole kitchen. We want something. We live in a townhome. We still have the furniture that came with the townhome. You know, those like wood cabinets and that type of stuff. We changed everything. We changed appliances. We changed all cabinets. We changed the countertop. We changed the aisle. We spent a lot of money just because to make it look less like a kitchen, or if it looks like a kitchen, it's going to be a fancy, beautiful kitchen. You guys probably have seen this because you're always doing some behind the scenes on there. Our fridge has a freaking tablet on at the door. It's a freaking tablet, a full functioning tablet. I have apps. The fridge plays music. The fridge, when somebody rings the bell, they show up on the fridge there. It's amazing, right? So what I do is that, what we do, every client that comes when they're arriving, there's a huge note there, welcome so-and-so, with their names in it. You don't know how far that goes. People find it the most amazing thing. They take pictures of it. They take pictures with it. They take selfies with it, right? And they post on places like this. All right. So that type of stuff, this is what makes the connection, the emotional connection. So the house needs to be clean. The house needs to be neat. Needs to smell good. You don't have to have distraction, because what's the difference between doing in your place and your client's place? The difference is that on the client you have no control of anything. The phone is going to ring. Kids are going to cry. Dog's going to bark, the bell's going to ring, and those are distractions. When people bring kids, we ask them how many people are coming to the IPS, so we know how much food to put on the table. We know how many drinks you need. When they bring in kids, we don't have kids. We don't have kids. We have toys for the kids here. First thing when kids get here, when they say they bring kids, I ask them, bring iPad, bring whatever, keeps them distracted. First thing, I connect them with my network into my wireless here. Sit over there and have fun with your toy there. Leave us alone so we can do the sale, because you don't want distractions. Okay? If you do this on your client's house, you're going to have distractions. They're not going to be focused. If they are distractions, they're not going to buy from you. For a long time, I tried to do this in public locations. I did at Starbucks. I did at the South Point Mall here in Durham. Sometimes I sold. Most of the times I didn't, because there was too many distractions. Guys, I would walk into Starbucks. Panera Bread. A lot of times the Panera Bread. Starbucks are a little bit small. I would walk into Panera Bread with two 24 by 36 and two easels. And I would set it up there. I would set up my IPS inside Panera Bread. People would look at me like, what's happening? What's happening? Right? And I would do IPS sitting at Panera Bread. I would have food. They would come out. You guys want something? I would go and buy them food. And I would do that there. It wasn't working. I mean, I sold some, but most of the time I didn't sell anything. Wasn't working, and there's like, what's happening? Because distraction. There's way too much distraction. Watching people, I'm talking to people, and they're like, you know, some noise, whatever. The barista makes some noise. They're making coffee or whatever it is, and they're like, you know, distracted, right? So only work when you start bringing them home. Start controlling the environment. So control the environment. For that to happen, the house needs to be clean, free of distractions. Phones are off. First thing I do when I do IPS, I grab my IPS consultation, anything I do. First thing I do, I grab my phone and I turn it off and put on the table face down. I'm not looking at that phone. I don't care who it is. I'm not looking at the phone. They have my full attention. Talk to them looking at their eyes. I'm giving them time to talk. I'm watching body language. Especially when you're doing weddings, a lot of time the bride is sitting here, the groom is sitting here, the groom is like this. This is like defensive, right? That's a defensive posture, body language. You're not going to sell anybody when they have it. I need to figure out a way to make him uncross his arms and open up to me. Then I start selling. Then I start talking about, let's close your wedding here. Okay? Guys, this is honestly, we are almost 1 hour here already. And this is like half of what I have to say. Okay, so what we can do is we can continue on this topic on Wednesday if you guys want to. If you guys want me to continue on Wednesday on IPS, do a second session on IPS, because I want to take you guys downstairs and film where I do my IPS and how I do this, where I put the samples and everything else. If you guys want me to do that, hit the heart button there that I know you guys want it. If you want to move into something else, I'll move into a different topic. Okay, so that's it. That's pretty much it. All right, cool. Because otherwise it becomes a very, very long live, and I know you then you start getting distracted, right? So let's do this then, because this is pretty much like half of what I had to say. Well, good question. So there's one question that I have to answer. Hold on a second. I wrote down here somewhere. I came up with this system that I have like papers for everything, but it's not right here in my face. Where are good prints made? I use, these are the labs that I use. First lab that I ever used in my life, the one I still use, I love them, great products, good pricing, and tech support is great. They only work with photographers. They don't work with like private people. WHCC.com, all right? It stands for White Housing, what is it? White Housing Color something, I forgot. So WHCC.com, there I do my albums, they do my prints, they do some metal prints that are amazing, okay? Then I do, for my metals, I use MaquinaPro.com, all right? MaquinaPro.com, do my metals, all right? And my acrylic and my canvases, I will do with, who is that? CG Print Pro, CG Pro Print or CG Print Pro, something like that. Let's do this. On Wednesday, I'll show you the products and I'll give you all the labs that I work with. Okay? Does sound like a plan? Let me know if it sounds like a plan. Hit the heart button there. Let's get some interaction here. Invite your friends for next Wednesday, because this is going to be good. Okay? It's going to be good. I knew we had a lot of stuff to talk about. All right? Yes, ask me again about prints. If you guys have questions about this, hit me up on DM or ask me on Wednesday right down there. Thank you so much for your support, guys. I truly appreciate it. And this is a really good, solid topic, because everybody thinking I need help with IPS sometimes. It all depends which level we are, right? And if I can help, I wish I had somebody who did this for me when I was starting. I would avoid like a lot of mistakes that I made. All right, thank you so very much for watching. Thank you so very much for waiting on Instagram with everything that happened today, Instagram being out. I truly appreciate your help and you being here. And if you're watching this on YouTube, this is our channel on Instagram, claysouzaofficial, and this is 808 with Clay, where we go live twice a week on Monday and Wednesday at 8:08 p.m. Eastern time to talk about photography. Most importantly, photography, lighting, photography composition, photography posing and directing. And today we're talking about IPS. We just talk about in-person sales. And Wednesday we're going to finish this conversation, or we're going to talk a little bit more and keep talking about it. So come back, Clay Souza Official on Instagram, and you guys share this live with your friends. I know you have friends who need to hear this. Let's bring them to our channel. Okay? Thank you so much. Have a great night, and I will see you on Wednesday. Bye.